Greetings, my beautiful friends. I'm Will Kelly. Last time we met, I shared with you how I went from smoking 50 to 60 cigarettes a day to smoking none, to being a complete non-smoker from one day to the next after a month or so of affirmations and visualizations. And this week I want to share with you an extra ingredient that I didn't talk about last time, which is a technique called the flip back, flip up technique. Again, I learned this lesson after I discovered this box set of cassette tapes called Investment in Excellence. And basically the idea of the flick back, flip up technique is you think of a time in your life where you felt something emotionally that is similar to or appropriate to the new idea that you're planting in your mind. So two of the affirmations that I used that I shared with you last week was, one was related to smoking and the other was, I am a bright, outgoing and confident young man, because at the time I was anything but, and I wanted to become that. I wanted to use that new idea of myself to replace the old idea of myself that I wasn't enough and that I wasn't lovable or smart or confident. So when I went to think back into my past to come up with a time when I felt bright, outgoing or confident, to be honest with you, at first it was depressing because I couldn't think of anything. It took me about 20 minutes to come up with one thing that I could hold on to. And that was the memory of somehow one day in PE class, I managed to miraculously kick a goal in soccer. And I say miraculously because if you're ever putting together a sports team, I'm probably the last person on the planet you want to pick for your team unless you want to lose. And at the time, I was one of those kids who was always chosen last to be on the team. I do remember one day when I was the first person chosen to be on the team because the PE teacher decided that each team captain would choose the team for the other team captain. And so that day I was the first person chosen because that team captain wanted the other team to lose, of course, and he thought of me as a loser. So I got chosen first, everyone laughed at me and, you know, it was humiliating. And so anyway, I came up with this one time, I can remember this one time where I actually lined up the ball and kicked the goal and got the goal. And at first I was stunned and shocked. And then that shock turned into elation and pride and confidence and feeling great about what I had achieved once I saw how my teammates responded to me kicking the goal. One of the team members ran up to me and got me in a bear hug and lifted me up, and then the other team players followed suit and they all hugged me and congratulated me, and I felt so great about myself. And so once I had that memory, I grabbed hold of that memory and I clung to it and I inserted it into this affirmation and my visualizations. I am a bright, outgoing and confident young man. And every time I would say that, every time I would write it, I would remember this moment where I kicked this goal and I felt so good about myself. I felt clever, I felt confident, and I felt like I had achieved something, and I felt outgoing. And I felt connected to my teammates and to something greater than myself. And so I used that, and every time I would visualize this idea, I'm a bright, outgoing and confident young man, I would visualize this moment, get that feeling and insert it into the affirmation. And one of the reasons why this is so powerful is because the brain finds it much easier to log memory and hardwire memory when there's an emotional component to the experience, which is why we tend to recall memories much easier when there is some kind of intense emotional component to that memory, and why music, things like music and films and plays stir up certain emotions, and then those emotions trigger memories in our brain because they've been hardwired in association with that feeling, that emotion. So I encourage you, if you're been doing this, using affirmations and visualizations, to think of a time in your past where you can recall an appropriate memory or a similar, an appropriate emotion or a similar emotion that you can use to combine with that affirmation and that visualization, just to help your brain to hardwire that new idea much more quickly and much more deeply to speed up the process of making that new idea that you have of yourself hardwired. And of course, once it's hardwired, the body can do nothing but mold itself according to that new conviction, mold itself according to that new hardwired idea that has become not just an idea but a memory in your mind. And you will find that one day you will wake up and you will be a bright, outgoing and confident whatever, or you'll be a non-smoker, or you will have no fear of public speaking, whatever it is for you, because this is about you. So that's what this video was about. I trust it finds you well and happy and doing something in your day that you love to do, surrounded by people that you love and who love you. And until next time, my beautiful friend, bye for now.